Welcome to Dig Design's tutorial. Here we're going to be teaching you how to make your very first basic website using HTML and CSS. Hopefully this is going to be a beneficial tutorial to you for a beginner, targeted to teach you very basic, and it's going to be a very quick tutorial. Won't go in too much detail, but just enough to get you started. I will be making about 2 videos per week about HTML and CSS. So definitely please subscribe and look out for my videos. So let's go ahead and get started on making your first website. Here is our desktop. Normally I like to use this as a quick and easy way to access your folders. So we're going to go ahead and make a folder on your desktop. Go ahead and right click, hit new, hit folder. You can go ahead and name this whatever you like. I'm going to name this my first website. Okay, so now we got that named. Go ahead and open up the folder. Okay, so basically for a website we need 2 files. Basically the index.html and the style.css. Here's one way of going about making it is that I would right click, hit new, hit text document, name this index, change the file extension to HTML. Yes. Okay, so we made that file. Next file we're going to make is style.css. Yes. Okay, so these are basically our 2 main files that we need in order to make a website. Index.html is going to be our skeleton code. Basically, is our foundation or backbone. The style sheet is basically our meat, skin, hair, color. It's going to be all that pretty stuff that's going to be attached onto the index.html. So these are only 2 files that we're going to need to actually create the website. Normally how you would open these files and actually code it would be using either Notepad, basic as it is, or an HTML editor to code this stuff. For beginner, to kind of get used to or familiar with the programs, the one that I use is a Sublime Text 3, which is the one that we will be using throughout this tutorial. The other one is a Notepad++. This is actually a pretty popular program. You can basically code in a lot of different languages. So it's quite a useful program for a beginner to learn, different type of languages. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the coding. But first, let's take a look at what we're going to try to make here. So this is the design and that we're going to attempt to do, basically using HTML and CSS. So let's go ahead and close this off. Okay, so let's open up our style and our index HTML. Click here. Okay, so now we have both our files open. This is Sublime Text. What I like about this is that I can actually view both files in one program by viewing and layout single, to 2 columns. Which is kind of nice. You'll see the skeleton and you see the meat and the skin here, all the pretty stuff here. So let's go ahead and start marking up our index.html page. With the new browsers and older browsers, they normally need a declaration of a document. And it normally looks like this: bracket, exclamation, doc type. HTML. Okay, and then we also need our HTML. Go ahead and close this. Okay, within our HTML we have three things: our head, body, and our body. Let's go ahead and create that. Head. All right. And then next is our body. Yes. All right. Let's go ahead and leave a little bit of room. So now we have HTML as our main outside placement here. Then within HTML, we're going to have head and body. So within the head, let's actually kind of separate these a little bit. Okay. So within the head, you normally have the title of the website, your meta tags, your links, your JavaScripts, anything that you want to link onto your HTML file is what goes in here. So let's go ahead and put in the title of your website. Okay, title, and call this my first website. So just understanding here, when you start off a tag, which is here, you also need a closing tag, which has a /. So that lets you know when you ended that particular opening. Just like head, header, body. There's an opening and there's a closing tag. There's always has to be that there. Otherwise, if you don't have that there, it's gonna merge in with all your other coding. So it's very important to make sure you close this stuff off. So title, my first website, and then we're gonna start to link your style sheet to CSS. All right, so let's go ahead and actually link up our style sheet to our index.html. So how we go about this is that we would, after our title, put a bracket, link. In subline text, it auto-completes this for me. So when I actually open up this tag and type it out, it auto-completes it for me, which is quite awesome. That it does this. So let me just go ahead and complete this, and I'll explain to you what happened here. So here you link the type it is, style sheet, and it's a text.css/.css. There's a link to your style sheet, style.css. If this was, not in your main directory and in a subdirectory like CSS, my first website, and you get a CSS folder, then you would put, CSS /. But since we're going to just keep it in our main folder directory, it's going to stay there. We're going to keep it like this. So now we're finished with our head. We're going to start working on our body. Within our body, we normally have 4 things. A header, a navigation, content, and a footer. Those are basically the 4 things that make up a website. So we're going to go ahead and start doing that by using div tags. Div tags are basically blocks, building blocks. They kind of separate one section from another. Like our header, our navigation, our content, they're going to be in different blocks. So let's go ahead and place that in within the body. Okay, so we're going to do header, div, id, header. Let's close this off. And header. Next one's going to be our navigation, div, id equals navigation. Okay, so that's good. Next, we're going to do content. Let's do fast here. So id equals content. Go ahead and close this off. Okay, and the next one's going to be div footer. Okay, so basically now we have our 4 sections within a body, which is going to be all of our content, or all of our what composes a website. Header, navigation, content, footer. Okay, so we're going to have to wrap this within a bigger outside box. Okay, we're going to call this the container. Div ID container. Okay, so let's go ahead and indent these. Okay, as you can see, I have a container here, and since all these are within a container, you want to indent this. Okay, for organization. Okay, so it looks a little, I'm going to try to make it as clear as possible. So you're going to have, when you click on div, everything inside this is within this, and within this block, okay, within this container. So you have your header, navigation, content, and footer. Okay, so we got all that finished. We're going to start working on our header. Okay, go place it here. Enter. That brings us down. Now we can put anything like a logo or a headline. For right now, we're going to put a headline. H1. Let's call this my first website. Close that off. Bring it down. Okay, so now we have our headline within our header section. Okay. Let's start working on our navigation. And enter that down. Okay, so how we go about this is that we want to make a unordered list. Okay, by doing this, you open a bracket, UL. Okay, so this is called unordered list, and within our unordered list, you want to put a list. Do list here, bracket, and then you want to put a link. So when they do click on your navigation, it will lead them to somewhere. Sure. So let's call this index.html. Okay. And then you're going to put home. Close this off. Close it off again. Okay. So now we basically have our list. Let's go ahead and duplicate this a few more times for all our other navigational links. Copy. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and change everything to what we want it to be. This is about this one is going to be our services. This is going to be our contact us. Okay, so here we're going to change this as well. Here's our link to our pages. Here's what the users are going to see on the website. So this is what they're going to be clicking on. So home, let's change this to about. Let's change this to services. Go ahead and change this to contact us. All right, so now we have our headline, our header, we have our navigation. Everything's looking good so far. So let's actually go ahead and save this and see what our progress is. Let's go to my first website, open this up. Okay, everything's looking good. We have our headline, we have our navigation. It looks like this because it's basically our skeleton. It's a very basic structure. Okay, there's no CSS applied to it yet, so it doesn't look all all fancy and nice or in any type of like style. Okay, so we're just doing this first so we have a layout. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the content. Let's go ahead and do a page heading along with paragraph. So go ahead and enter. Again, you always got to have an opening tag and a closing tag. Okay, whatever's within it has to be within it. Okay. So let's go ahead and put our headline 2, which is it's a subheading of H1, so it's smaller. So as a number increases, like H3 is going to be a subheading of H2, H4 is going to be a subheading of H3, and so on. It just, it reduces in size. So H2, you're going to call this page heading. Okay, let's go ahead and close this off. Now we're going to start working on our paragraph, which we start by opening a bracket, P, and some kind of text from whatever. I'm going to grab something. Okay, so I grab the text, paste. All right, so let's go ahead and close this off. Let's go ahead and do this again. So it looks like we have, more content inside. It's a duplication. Okay, so now we have our content. Let's start working on our footer. What should we have in here? Normally a footer just has, a copyrighted or sometimes a little small menu or some type of information. It's kind of just the ending part of the website. So go ahead and enter here. Let's type in P copyright my first website. Okay, let's go ahead and close this off. All right, let's go ahead and save everything and take a look at our website. So let's go open that up. All right, so now we have the headline, H1. You have our navigational, and we have our H2, which is our page heading, and then we have our content, and then our footer. So it doesn't look, that nice. Which is now we're gonna finish. Now we're finished basically everything. We're gonna go up to the CSS file and start working on that. All right, so let's go ahead and start working on our style sheet, our style.css. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and work on our HTML body. Put up a bracket. Put this margin of 0. A padding of 0. Okay, so basically what this does is that it gets rid of all the spacing between here and here. So it's very close to the edge. There's no, when you put a background image or, a background color, it'll fill up the edges of the browser. Okay, so that's what that does. HTML body, the margin is 0, the padding is 0. Okay, so the next thing we are going to work on is our, see here, our container. Let's put a tag, container. Okay, so the thing with this is that this is an ID, okay? Division ID. How you connect the two from index to style sheet is that an ID container, you would use a tag. Okay, that references back to an ID. And these are unique, these are can only be used once. So if it's a unique section that you want to style one way, then you want to use an ID. There's another thing called class, which is something that you want to use more than once. So let's say like you had 3 boxes, that you want to look alike and completely identical, in terms of the attributes that you're trying to apply to it. And you would use a class. Then you just put container, container, container. And you just use this once and it'll apply to all 3 containers in your index. So again, this is just a unique section, okay, is your container. It's your wrapper of the 4 elements that composes your website. So container, open up a bracket. Okay, so we're gonna make the margin 0 and put auto. This is actually gonna center our page, you know, within a bigger wrapper, which is the HTML. This is the full document. Okay, it's gonna center it within here. Okay, this is the code for that. Enter. You got to apply a width for it to be centered. Okay, let's make it 600 pixels. Let's make the background gray. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. Okay, refresh. All right, so now you see that the container is gray. Okay, which is what we did here. Okay, and we centered the page, which is here. Okay, so everything was good. Let's go ahead and start working on our header. Which is the next one down. Okay, tag header connected to the ID. Open a bracket. Enter. Let's make this background orange. Okay, for say. Okay, and then let's make padding 20 pixels. Save. All right, so within our header here, we want our background to be orange, and we want the padding inside to have 20 pixels. Let's go refresh our website. All right, so we have a 20 pixel padding. The background is orange. That's great. Let's go ahead and enter. Let's start working on our navigation, which is next. So tag navigation, open a bracket. Let's float the menu to the left. This is basically just assigning the menu to the left. Okay. Let's apply it a width of 600 pixels. Semicolon, and then a background of, let's say, red. Okay, let's go ahead and save that. Take a look at that. Save. All right, so we made orange red. So this is our navigational menu. Let's see what we can change with this. We want to kind of move the menu more to the left and to the edges for now. So we're going to go ahead and target navigation. Place navigation, and you want to target the unordered list. Okay. This is another box within navigation. Okay. So you have your navigation, and then you also have your unordered list in here as well. Okay. So we're going to target that by doing this, because it's within navigation ID, and the next one, and since it's inside navigation, we can just put UL. Okay. So it's a specific way of targeting things. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put margin of 0, padding of 0. And what does this do? Let's refresh. All right, lined it to the edge. Next, we are going to work on the list. Now you see there's some bullet points here. You know, we don't want to have that there, so we're going to change that a bit. And we're also going to make it, you know, a horizontal menu rather than a vertical menu. Close this. Open this a bit more. All right, so let's target that. Navigation, then unordered list, then a list. Okay, now do you see where I'm going with this? Navigation, unordered list to list. Okay, let's do some changes. All right, let's get rid of those bullet points. So list style type, let's put none. Okay, to make it horizontal, we're going to put display, put it inline, and that's going to make it horizontal. Okay, so let's go ahead and also change the way it looks, you know, without, you know, the way it looks when it's just stationary. Okay, navigation, li, the list order A. And this is when it's by itself, when it displays as a link. This is what it's going to look like, okay? So let's display this as a block. Let's float the list to the left. Add some padding all the way around 10 pixels. Let's make this a white text. Okay, and then text decoration. Now this is to get rid of the underline, which you see right here. Okay, get rid of the underline. Semicolon. Let's go ahead and add a border to the right. All right, let's make it 1 pixel thick. Let's make it solid, and let's make the border black. Okay, save it. Let's take a look at it. All right, looking good so far. It's got a horizontal menu. Changed the color to white. Added the border. Added some padding, and our menu's coming together. Let's go ahead and see what else we can change here. So as you notice, when we hover over the links, nothing really happens. So let's go ahead and see if we can change something. Okay, so how do we target it? We're going to put navigation, li again, a for link, so my colon, hover. Okay, this is going to be able to make us change things here when you hover over it. So let's make the background black. Okay, let's see what happens. Refresh. Looking nice, looking nice. Now you know that you're hovering over the link item that you're about to select, okay? Which is pretty cool. All right. Let's go ahead and start working on our content here, okay? Tag content. From bracket, let's take a look at it. What can we change here? It looks a little too tight on the side here. Let's kind of add maybe some padding on the left side. Okay, so padding left to some 20 pixels. Bam. Okay, look at that. We changed it. Now everything looks good. Let's go ahead and start working on our footer. See what we can change with that. So you go down, footer, brackets. Let's give it some padding. Make it look a little bigger. Padding. Let's give it like 30 pixels. Let's change the background color to, let's say, blue. Okay, let's go and save and take a look at it. Look at that. Everything's coming together. So you got basically got the header, navigational, the content, and the footer. There you go. So this is how you make your first website, and you just duplicate the same results in your about, HTML, services, HTML, contact, HTML, and once you click on it, it's gonna work.